Okay, modelers, so today we're going to do a bit of a in-box review of our Phantom here. This is our RF-4C Phantom, the Shogun, and this is a very old kit, guys. This has been around for quite a while. I think it started off as a frog kit, and this one here has been released as a fujimi. So I think the frog kits were bought out by Fujimi, and they've done quite a few of these in 72nd scale. Now I bought these very cheap. I think I paid I think it was $20 and I got 10 kits or something like that, and they're all different versions of the Phantom, well, the Phantom 2, and like I love the Phantom. Just a beautiful looking aircraft, and like I say, it's a bit of an older kit, and you can see by the box art and the box itself, this is a pretty old kit, guys. It's been around for a while, so I don't expect a great deal from this kit itself. But what I want to do is put this thing together just straight out of box, to show you guys that you can actually build a decent sort of kit or a nice looking aircraft straight out of the box. You don't want, you know, like you can buy the Tamiya kits or whatever you want and spend a fortune on aftermarket stuff, but you can get some nice looking aircraft just straight out of the box with older kits. So that's what we're planning to do with this. So I'm going to do a bit of an in-box review and show you what you're going to get for the money. Okay, so let's open up the box and see what we've got in there. As you can see, the art on the box is fairly, I mean, I like it, but it's fairly old, and it's got that sort of the old vintage sort of look to it. There's not much else on it, a couple of colours there, but that's about it, guys. I've got a couple of pictures of the other Phantoms in the series on the other side. Now, one of the things I am really concerned about is the decals in this are a little bit yellowed. They're not too bad, but as you can see, they've got a little bit of that yellow tinge around some of the outside. So I'm going to have to see how they come up. The other thing is, I think this one here, from memory, I built one of these quite a while ago. The gauges, there's no gauges built into the plastic, like they're not sort of protruding and engraved. You actually have to put the decals on there to give it the gauges. So you have to see how that looks, but with the canopy closed, I don't think you're going to see much inside that cockpit anyway in 72nd scale. But other than that little bit of yellowing, and it's not too bad, they do look quite nice, the decals. I think they might be a little bit thick. I can feel them even through that plastic, so we'll have to see how they go. Now you can see by looking at the instruction sheet here, this is pretty old because that's very yellowed, that instruction. So now, as you can see, the first step here is our cockpit. It's fairly ordinary, there's not a lot in it, and as I say, you can see where it's showing you the decal call out to put on here for the gauges, and there's no seat belts, anything flash like that. It's very plain, 72nd scale. I'm hoping once the canopy is on this, you're not going to see much inside it. Like I say, I built one, but it was quite a while ago and I haven't got it anymore. I think I gave it to somebody. So you got the cockpit, and then you got the actual fuselage going over it. That's it. It's fairly simple. Then you got the intakes going on either side. As far as fit issues go, I really can't remember, guys, what the fit issues are with this kit. I think it has a couple, but I'm not really sure. The wings, you've got the undersection in one piece, and then the top goes on there, and then they fit up underneath the fuselage. And then it's telling you to put the canopy and details and stuff like that on. Now normally when I build these kits, I'll leave that small details off until later on, because I'm worried about when I'm handling the kit, I'm going to break those off. And it's the same down here when you start putting the landing gear together. I'll put it together, but I'll leave it aside until I get a little bit further in the build. And again, there's just details here, the catch hook and stuff like that. And then up here we've got the like all the covers for when your landing gear folds up, and all the covers for your landing gear hole, like the spaces underneath. Then we've got our fuel and stuff like that, all our loadout systems. I'm not sure about what sort of loadout systems there is for this, whether there's much of a choice or whether it's just the standard stuff here. But we'll see that when we go through the build. And that is actually pretty much it, guys. That's the whole lot. It's got the sprue call out here, the colour call outs and decal call outs here, and that's it. So there's not much in it. Now, one of the things that's amazing with a kit that's a little bit old like this, hopefully you can pick it up in the camera, it's got engraved panel lines, and they're really nicely detailed. They're not overdone for something this old. Sometimes you get these older kits that have big, thick, wide panel lines that in the real aircraft they'd be like a, you know, like a metre thick sort of thing. These aren't quite that thick. They're probably a little bit overdone, but you know, talking about a kit that's this age, it's not too bad. And I can't see a lot of flash on there. There's a couple of places where the pins hang off that have to be taken off and cleaned up. The missiles here, again, there's a little bit of flash and there's a bit of a seam line running around those, so I take it that's the same with most of the parts. They'll all have to be cleaned up. Got our jets here, the exhaust, and they don't look too bad. They're quite nice actually, guys. They're fairly nicely detailed. Again, for a kit of this age, it's not too bad. Got our now these things here, you can see at the top of the seats, these are the parts that have the yellow and black stripes in 70-second scale. That can be a little bit of a chore sometimes, but we'll see how they go. And there's our joystick, and up here's the top part of our intakes. But honestly, guys, that looks really nice as far as being an older kit. It doesn't look too bad at all. This bag here, we have our panels for our instrument panels. We've got our fuel, got some weapon loadouts, got our wheels. There's a tub for our canopy. Very simple, and as I say, yeah, decals are going to actually go on those flat parts there. But like I say, hopefully when this has got the canopy over it, not going to see a lot of that. And there's the underside. I can see a little bit of flash. It's not too bad. It's only a couple of little spikes of flash, but the seam line is fairly thick on some of these parts. I can see it'll have to be taken off there. That's just a little bit of filing or sanding or whatever, you know, whichever way you prefer to take those off. But it's actually not too bad. And looking at the missiles and canisters, they've got some nice engraving on them. Our holders are going underneath the wings here. Some really nice little engraving details going on those as well, so they're not too bad. And like I say, you've got to remember this is a bit of an older kit, so I'm fairly impressed with how that is. Now I'm looking at the canopy here. I can see one part of the canopy has been rubbing around this box. Like I say, it's a pretty old kit and it's a little bit scuffed there, so I might have to dip these and try and clear them up a little bit. But they're fairly clearly engraved where the edge goes. Like, you know, you've got the glass separated very well from the actual framework, and I can see it around the front here where you're going to have that bit of a different colour in there. Just got a nice engraved mark too. Hopefully it won't be too bad to mask that up. And here we have the underside of our wings here. Again, some beautiful engraving on that, and this is very fine underneath. I don't know why they've made it so fine under here and it's not as fine on the top part of the wing. But that looks quite nice. I can see a couple little bit, like on the edge here, you can see a little bit of feathered raised plastic up here on the edge, which will have to be cleaned off. Those sort of things stand out when you put it together, and you can see those, they'll stand right out, and you'll know to clean those up at the time. And the last piece in our box here is the top part of our wings. And actually, speaking about the under part, the top part's got some really nice fine engraving too. Hopefully you can pick this up on the camera, but the engraving in here is really nice, really fine. Here's our tyres, wheels, etc. And there's the fold up plates that go onto, hopefully you can see that. No, you can't. There it is. That's the fold up plates that cover our wheel wells when they fold up, when the wheels fold up underneath it. And that's pretty much it, guys. So like I say, it's a bit of an older kit, so you don't expect to be a lot of little detail parts in it, but it looks quite fine. I'm really actually looking forward to putting this together. I haven't built an out-of-box thing this simple for quite a while, and it's going to be quite good to build this up, and like, I'm sort of looking forward to see how it turns out myself.